Good morning and welcome to the 8th annual Pumped or Stumped bouldering competition. Now I'm excited to get you out to the wall, but before we do that, we gotta talk about the rules. Now at this point, you probably figured out that there are 3 groups, A, B, and C, and each group is gonna have 2 45-minute heats. Now the scorecard that you've been given corresponds to that group, and on the scorecard are 1 through 23, all of the problems that we have at the wall. Now, each one of those has a location and a color associated with that number. You can find the location, color, and number on the physical space of the wall for easy identification. The first thing you're going to notice when you walk up to a problem are the starting holds. The starting holds are designated by colored tape. 2, 3, or 4 ticks of tape corresponds to how many limbs you're going to put on those starting holds. So if there's 2 ticks of tape, you get 2 limbs to start on each of those holds. Now if there's all 4 ticks there, you get all 4 limbs. Now what do you do with a limb that doesn't correspond to a piece of tape? You got 4 limbs and there's only 2 pieces of tape. What do? Well, that means you have 2 floating limbs. You can smear or flag on any wall associated with that route to start that problem. For the control, we want to demonstrate control. So if it's a sit start, you're not popping right off your butt onto the wall. We're demonstrating control. You're on those starting holds, progressing to that first move. Now, if you fall on the start, we're going to give you a freebie. If you go right into your second attempt, we're not going to count the first one. That'll be your first attempt. Now, the ending holds also have tape. Sometimes there's 2 ending holds, sometimes there's only 1 ending hold. So you're gonna put 1 hand per tape mark just like the start. So if 2 holds have 1 tick mark each, you're gonna probably end with a split finish. If 1 hold has 2 tape marks, you can either match that hold or finish with 1 hand with the other hand tapping above the wrist. So anywhere on the back of the hand or matching that hold, and you're good. Now, you still do have to demonstrate control in the end. So how we're training our judges is we want control. So that means no flailing around. And once you match that hold with the other hand, that's 1 Mississippi, at least 1 second, and you've demonstrated control. You can come on down. All of our problems are monochromatic. The one thing that you need to watch out for is the dark green jugs are just down climb jugs. So the light green is an actual problem. The dark green jugs are just down climb jugs. Okay, so let's talk about planes of the wall. This is the most complicated thing at specifically our climbing wall because it's a natural climbing wall, so there's all of these natural features and all of these angles, and it makes it a pain for this competition. So a plane is any flat-ish surface of the wall. So a great example is behind me. Now when it comes into a dihedral, the corner of the wall, the left side and the right side are clearly different planes. What gets a little bit confusing is when you take a look at the crack feature. To the left of the crack is 1 plane, to the right of the crack is a 2nd plane. Same thing with the horizontal ledge behind me. Below the horizontal ledge is 1 plane, above the horizontal ledge is a 2nd plane, and the horizontal ledge itself is a 3rd plane. So you can use any plane as long as 1 hold is on that plane. So if you're in a corner, a dihedral, there's a foot chip at the start of your problem, you can smear and flag all over that wall for the entire problem. Now let's talk about going off route. I talked about us having so many natural features, and that is very true, but none of those are on any of the problems that we have today. So none of the natural features can be used. Now, if you use a natural, a plane that isn't on your route, or a hold that isn't a part of your problem, the judge is going to call you off route. Now, 2 things can happen. The first one, which is pretty likely, is that you're going to progress off route. You're actually accidentally going to use that foot chip, you're going to hit that next hold, and your judge is going to count that as an attempt because you progressed through your route illegally. Now, the second way is your judge is going to say off route, but you haven't progressed. You haven't moved that foot. That's an easy fix. You can bump that foot back down to that purple foot chip instead of that black foot chip, and then progress through your route. So it comes down to, are you off route and are you progressing through that route? And ultimately, that's a judge decision. Now, I know the climbing community is incredibly helpful and we all want to see each other succeed, but at the end of the day, this is a competition. We want our climbers facing the wall without your help. So don't be spraying beta, don't be helping other climbers. When they hop on the wall, I don't want to hear any, hey, you've got a left foot out there. Hey, just bump that right foot. They should be reading that route before they get on the wall and you shouldn't be helping them. Now let's talk about the point system. So on your scorecard, every problem is going to have a first, second, and third attempt point value. Now, if you get it on the first attempt, boom, you automatically get those first try points. But if you get it on the 13th, don't worry about it. You still get that third attempt. So any successful climb after the third attempt gets the third attempt point value. And don't bleed on my wall. I'm not going to penalize you for injury. I would much rather you come down, tape up, and hop back on the wall than get blood all over a hold. We're just going to have to take that hold down, soak it in some disinfectant, and then put it back up on the wall like half an hour later, and we don't want that. So don't bleed on my wall, just come down. Same thing with spinners. You've got a decision when a hold spins on you, and it's going to happen. You're going to be mad at me, I know that, but it's going to happen. So if you're climbing something and something spins on you, you've got a decision to make in that moment. The first decision is if you immediately come down, that doesn't count it as an attempt. We'll fix the spinner, you can hop back up there. Now, the second decision is if you want to continue. You can continue past that spinner if you want to, but if you choose to progress on that route, that's going to count it as an attempt even if you fall later. Okay, do me a favor and watch the language. We're a family-friendly facility. I don't want to hear any excessive language. That's going to get you kicked out.